Alrighty, hello, and welcome to Mapping Your Marketing Success podcast. My name is Greg Osborne, and I am your host. We are just happy to have you with us. This podcast is all about helping businesses, brick and mortar, online, franchise, anyone that's trying to spread the word about their business. And we welcome you, to come on and tell your story about your products, about your services, specifically feature the benefits and the transformation of your customers. And we got with us today, and y'all are lucky you showed up today. I'm going to be joined by Rich Hall. Now, he is something else. He's a nationwide business coach based in Houston, and get this, recently recognized as one of the top 15 coaches in Houston. And in addition to his clients, I mean, this guy's out there just giving it away to people, man. He's two CEO roundtables, a very popular mastermind group. And then now I met Rich through our joint membership in H7 Network, and I asked him to join us today. So how are you doing, Mr. Rich?
Hey, we're doing great, Greg. Thanks for having me today, and looking forward to sharing some fun with your listeners.
Excellent. Well, I know you're always dropping nuggets in the time that I spend with you. And so we'll talk, we'll start at a high level, right? So this coach thing, boy, it is really all over the place now. So maybe we can just start at a fundamental level. Like, what is a business coach?
Yeah, Greg, I can't speak for all business coaches because people have different, sort of titles of what they use. For me personally, I use it in a very specific way. I spend about half of my time on the client, which is usually the business owner or an executive, on trying to help them become a better leader. And then the rest of the time is what are the challenges that they're facing that's keeping them away from their vision of success. And I help them identify what those challenges are and then help them put together a plan so we can just crush them and they're on their way for hitting their dreams.
Wow. That's like a three-pronged approach, like the person, the business, and then a plan. I love it. I love it. So I always ask people this too, like, how did you get started as a coach?
I spent a lot of my career on the corporate side, going through challenges, whether it was turnarounds, rapid growth, and really short time frames, or just challenges. And along the way, I kept a playbook. And I enjoyed that playbook, putting it together of what I saw that worked, that didn't work. And I've used that throughout my career. And I really got to a point where I said, what is it I genuinely enjoy? Because a lot of us get to that point in our careers. Is this what we like, what we want to do? And I said, more than anything, I enjoy helping companies obtain their vision of success. And part of that is working with the business owners and the executives of whatever they're facing. So I said, becoming a business coach allows me to multiply that times many timefold. So I'm just not doing that for one company today. I may be doing it for a half a dozen or more. And that just really fulfills me and what I like to do in my career.
Yeah, are you reading my script? I love your answer. But my next one was, what do you like being best? And I think you already covered that.
We got you going, Greg.
You've got a giver's heart, and I appreciate the time that we've spent together. And so, and I think this is true. I mean, I've had coaches, I have mentors. I'm in masterminds, and so it's interesting. Like, and I see it in myself. Like, don't business owners know their own dang challenges?
It's funny that not always, because when I work with a business owner or, again, could be a CEO, could be a president, could be an executive, usually 9 times out of 10, when they bring me in, the problem that we end up addressing was not the original problem they brought me in for or what they thought it was. Okay. And why is that? Well, we all see things through our own lens and our own biases, right? If you're an example, if you're a sales oriented type person and you're the one out there growing your business, you're shaking hands, you're developing relationships, and then you need to go to the next tier. Well, you may come in and say, hey, I've hired 1 or 2 sales executives, things hadn't worked out, and we're not growing like we should. Well, you're looking at it from a sales lens perspective because that's where you came from. Perhaps the challenge may be that there's an issue on the product side, or maybe it's the business owner is not letting the executive do their job because their comfort zone is to help. And that helping is what's hindering the company. Hire good people, train them up, empower them, and then turn them loose and let them do what they're best at. So those are examples where it may be a little bit different than when I come in. The actual problem may be a little bit different. And then once we identify that, that's what's fun. It usually takes off from there. And then we work on the smaller things, but it's usually find that first 1 or 2 issues that really kicks it going.
I like that. And I can see that. And that's what I can see how that works for you. And then I've seen it work for me, where I come in thinking one thing and they have like an outside vision. And once they hear the facts, they can give an assessment. Mm-hmm. Let's dig in just a little deeper. So like, I don't know, like what would be some examples of the work you do or how you would engage, with a business?
Usually there's about 3 different ways. Number 1 is a business owner that has been, trying a lot of different things to grow their company, and what they've been doing isn't working. So that's an example 1. They've gotten frustrated and they're like, finally, I need some help. I need to run this by some people. Another example is, hey, we're growing and we're growing like crazy. But the problem is profitability may not be growing, the same or better than the revenue side. So I want to grow, but I want to be the right kind of growth and make sure I'm making the right decisions, because I've never been this size of a company before or faced these type challenges. So, that's option number 2. Number 3 is a little bit broader category, but it's either I've got a high performing executive that we need to coach them up because they could be, a future president, CEO of the company. And where that comes in, it's really popular right now, as you can imagine, is that a lot of the baby boomers that are out there have gotten to a point and they've said, I either want to sell my company or transition, and I'm not sure what to do yet. So I'll come in and help them talk about it and say, hey, we could either prepare it for, say, maximize value and prepare it for an exit, or we may turn around and say, okay, you've got a family member in the business or an outside person you want to bring in, or maybe a high performer in the business today, and they need help closing that gap between where they are today and where they need to be as a business owner or, say, CEO. And those are typically the 3 categories that I get involved with.
Awesome. Well, that makes a lot of sense, right? Having a good exit or transition plan. Mm-hmm. So how about this one? Do you find like one piece of advice you find yourself giving over and over between these, like, say, 3 different types or different types of businesses you consult with?
I think that it varies. One of the things I look at right off the bat is, number 1, is there high, say, turnover? Do we have an employee retention issue? What is the culture of the company? Because the culture, so many people talk about it today, but the thing that makes culture so valuable is it's one of the primary attractions for many of the younger workers in the workforce. And if you can lower your turnover, obviously it's savings that go right to the bottom line. People want to be there. They enjoy being there. And it's a, great environment. So I usually start out there as an underlying, how are things going? Let's see, do people enjoy being here? Do we have a great transparent type organization? But then outside of that, it could be operational issues. It could be leadership development. It could be things like, again, culture, et cetera.
I think that culture, you hit it. I think that's a very, very important point. And I think we have some mutual friends that talk about the culture, because that sort of is, if you get back to mindset, a follower, Jim Rohn and a bunch of these people, like philosophy, right? So culture might be the philosophy or the mindset of the organization.
Yeah. I'll tell you my definition of culture and then how you build this kind of world-class culture is it starts with your company values. Okay. You have to define what those values are for the company. And it needs to be in alignment with where you're trying to go as a company, right? And here's a phrase I use: values demonstrated by leadership is what makes the culture.
Ooh, I like that one.
It's exactly right. You can have it all in the documentation, all you want to, have it in the employee handbook, you can put it up on the wall. But if the leadership team does not adhere to it, then the employees and the rest of the company are just going to wave it off.
Yeah, if you don't see it and feel it, right, then it isn't even real.
Yeah. And see, a lot of executives or business owners will say, well, wait a minute, this culture thing and values, that's just, fluff. We need to get our job done, our day job done. Well, where I push back is that, to me, it's core within the company. And here's an example. It doesn't have to state, oh, we love our employees more than anything else, or our customers are the best thing on the planet. Okay. It could be even things like, we value profitability more than, whatever else. Okay. That's fine. If that's what it is, state it. And then what's going to happen is leadership team, lives by the values, and then you're going to attract those type people. Where it messes up is if you say, oh, we're employee, centric, or profits are not quite as important. And then all of a sudden you treat employees differently than what your values say. So again, we help them identify. If they don't already have it, we help them identify what those are. And then it creates the demonstration by the leaders. And then after that, you've got the right kind of culture that attracts people, is alignment with your vision of the company, and you're in the process of building a fantastic organization.
Man, I love it. You're, beginning to end, micro, macro, that is all really great. And I sure thank you for your time today. We're in the home stretch, folks. We just a couple more questions here. It is the mapping your marketing success. We got to ask you kind of question like, what types of marketing do you do, Mr. Rich?
So much of my time is spent with sharing great content about real life issues on platforms like LinkedIn, YouTube videos, which you're, a master of, Greg, and all of the different platforms. So I put the Greg plug out there, if you will. But what I see that resonates the most is real life scenarios, real life stories where business owners and executives look at it and say, you know what, this guy gets it. And, I had a problem sort of like that this past week, or I know someone that did. This is the type of person I want to talk to. And I put out there what's real life that I've faced and what I faced with clients that I can share with others, and I think would be meaningful.
Well, it's got history right here. Storytelling, one of the greatest single marketing tools there is. So that is awesome. I think you're well on your path to success, going out and finding the people on the platforms where they are, giving value, story-based. So let's get down to it. Like say, how would someone get started with you?
It all starts with a conversation. It's nothing more, pressure or anything like that. People reach out either through a referral to me or see some of the content out there. And we just schedule a call, a Zoom call, a phone call. And we say, hey, let's just talk. What are you trying to accomplish? What's working? What's perhaps not working? And if I think that I'm the right person that could help them, then, we follow it up with the next level discussion. And there's absolutely no cause for a good conversation. It's at the worst case, you've met a good person, right? I've met a good person. And if I'm not the right person, after what I've heard, we've got a pretty strong network between guys like yourself, our friends in the H7 network, our corporate and references. And we identify those people that may be a great, trusted, advisor or help for what they're trying to accomplish, and we bring the right person in.
Yeah, that's really nice. Like you let people do what they're good at if it's a good fit. Otherwise, refer. I love that about you.
Yeah,
I also
absolutely.
love about you is that you lead with value. And we hinted at this earlier. Y'all still here, here. I think Rich, you have something that you can help people with this growth assessment, right? Part kind of coming from your time tested, proven playbook.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I alluded to it earlier. Throughout my career, I kept notes through growth of more responsibility, breadth of responsibility, all the way up to president of an international company. I spent a lot of time in family-owned businesses, Fortune 10 corporation, you name it. And everything from what I would say top down, like leadership, culture, high-performing teams, over to functional areas like finance, HR, technology, customer service, operations. And I kept those notes all along the way of what I personally have seen has worked and has been successful. And I put that together into what I call a company growth assessment or readiness assessment. And it's on my website. It's only 12 questions, no cost to it at all. No one's going to call or spam or anything like that. But you go in and answer the questions. And then all you have to do is really provide your name and your email address. And what it'll do is send you a full PowerPoint walking through each one of those areas and say,
Wow,
this is what a great company looks like. And here's how you rate. And here's some great ideas and suggestions that you can follow yourself.
Well, in full transparency, I've done it. I've gotten the feedback, and I really like it, man. And I appreciate you for just always giving back, Mr. Rich.
You're made from the same mold, Greg, and I appreciate you, brother.
Well, it's foundational. I think it's a winning strategy, right, to lead with value. So look at that. I want to thank you for your time. It's really been a pleasure to have you on. So, hey, folks, if you'd like to learn more or speak with Rich, there's going to be contact information, around this thing, maybe surrounded by the post. His logo's up there, and you can go right there to richhallgroup.com. And then if you go there, you can click the assessment tab and go get that free gift. So thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for having me, Greg, and hope everyone has a fantastic day.
Awesome. And so here we are. What a great show. Thank you, the audience, the watchers, the listeners, for joining us. We love our guests, and we'd love to have you as a guest. So if you'd like to join us, tell your story, feature your business, reach out to us. And signing off for Mapping Your Marketing Success. Thank you. Mm-hmm.